What are your unpopular opinions about interracial dating? Story 1. There's a lot more fetishizing involved in interracial dating than many are willing to admit. Some of the most racist or ignorant peep often without even realizing it date interracially. This isn't meant as a criticism of interracial dating at all. I'm in an interracial relationship, and most of the ones I've seen are healthy and beautiful. Story 2. Positive stereotypes are still a form of racism, and if you believe in them, you're still engaging in racism. Examples include obsessing over K-pop, thinking BBC is a thing, believing Asian men are smarter than others, or that Asian women are more feminine than other women, etc. Story 3. There are many reasons why these positive stereotypes exist, but one thing that often goes under-discussed is how these positive stereotypes are always paired with a negative counterpart. For instance, if Asian men are considered smarter, that implies someone else is considered less intelligent. Or, if black men are said to have larger penises, that suggests others have smaller ones. We all know the stereotypical racist answers to these questions. My point is, positive stereotypes inevitably come with negative ones. If one group is seen as superior in one area, another group is, by definition, seen as inferior in the same area. Story 4. If your parents are racist and you're not ready to stand up to them, whether through a direct conversation, calling them out, correcting them, distancing yourself, or even cutting them off, if it's extreme, then you should stop putting your partner in a position where they're affected by your indecision. Keeping your partner a secret for years or introducing them to openly racist family members is unfair to your partner, especially if they're black. I sympathize with those who are frustrated about being kept secret or subjected to racist comments from family members. There's nothing romantic about sticking it out in these situations. It's time to let go. Story 5. I totally agree. I had a white boss who was married to a Chinese woman, yet he was also a strong anti-immigration, Trump-supporting individual. When I asked him why he married her, his answers were based on stereotypical views of Asian wimpetite, submissive, and skinny. As an Asian woman, that was deeply unsettling. Story 6. I wish my mom had talked to me more about this. We aren't Asian, but I always wondered why my mom didn't like my friend's dad, who was white, while her mom was Asian. Now I understand. Having heard about the challenges Asian women face in relationships with white men, though this can happen with any race. After meeting my friend's dad, my mom explained that she didn't like the way he treated his wife. I didn't initially think it was about race because my mom exposed me to many interracial couples, with her being white and my dad black. She would share her experiences seeing various interracial and poly relationships, and taught me how genetics work in mixed families. She showed me how race doesn't always align with appearance, like how someone half native and half white could look Asian, or how someone who looks fully white could actually be half black. Story 7. Here's an unpopular opinion. Many parents of non-BIPOC children, South Asian, East Asian, Hispanic, etc., would be okay with their child dating a white person, even if they prefer them to stay within their own race, because it's often seen as moving up. But many would take issue with their child dating a darker-skinned POC, especially a black person. It's seen as dating down. White people often have the easiest time dating interracially, as they're seen as acceptable partners by other minorities compared to black people. Anti-blackness is real and global. Story 8. People of color who refer to their white boyfriends as my colonizer hove on TikTok are weird. Imagine calling someone that based on their race and their ancestors' actions. I don't care if it's meant as a joke, it's cringe. Also, some racist people of color can contribute to white supremacy. It's not uncommon to find a white supremacist with a person of color partner. In my experience, both individuals and such couples can be extremely racist, especially against black people. While we often focus on racist white people, we must also acknowledge that some people of color can be just as bad. Some types of interracial relationships are unfairly hated on for no reason, often due to insecurities. I wish white people realized how much privilege they have in the interracial dating scene. Many people around the world would rather date a white person over any other race. The only other race seen as desirable as white people are Asian women, who also have certain privileges. Unfortunately, black women often face struggles in this arena. Story 9. I think couples often fetishize their own relationships more than we talk about. We focus on how one partner may fetishize the other, but many couples end up fetishizing their relationship itself, thinking it's something extra special, unique, or exotic. Story 10. My unpopular opinion. If you're not willing to talk about race with your partner and educate them when they make mistakes, because mistakes and ignorance happen, then maybe interracial dating isn't for you. I come from a rural area with limited exposure to other communities, aside from a few local native groups and some POC. I called out my dad for racist remarks growing up. Racism here often comes from a lack of exposure, just like homophobia. Not everyone was raised in a diverse community. One of the most racist people I knew was a guy whose parents survived Auschwitz. That lack of exposure can sometimes show up in unintentional racial comments. I'm not excusing it, but I'm acknowledging that this is the reality in many parts of the world. Grace goes a long way in understanding where people are coming from. Open communication about race is crucial. If you're ready to bail on your partner because the effort to enlighten them seems too much, it might indicate a lack of empathy. Story 11. Not everyone is equipped to handle the unique challenges of an interracial relationship compared to a monoracial one. Interracial relationships come with their own set of obstacles, and if you're not open to unlearning and learning new perspectives that challenge your worldview, then perhaps it's better not to pursue them. The reason certain interracial pairings are more common than others, for example, WMAF being much more common than ANWF, and BMWF more common than WMBF, is tied to deeply ingrained racial stereotypes and beauty standards that date back centuries. Everyone has implicit biases, whether they realize it or not, and these biases influence our attractions, often favoring proximity to whiteness. If this weren't the case, interracial pairings would be more evenly distributed across racial genders. In reality, statistics show that Black men have more success in interracial dating than Black women, and Asian women fare better in interracial dating than Asian men.
Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it.